This is our 15th Fast Five, and we're going to have prison escapes and cone goblins and death coming to visit you a day before you die. Also, a beer with mayonnaise. Get ready to go. What's up, Shedheads? Welcome back to That Movie. I'm John Dispenza, the guy who brought some mayonnaise beer to today's podcast. And with me, as always, is the man who is more than a little worried about drinking a mayonnaise beer, Harrison Hickok.
Oh, that's right. Hey, everybody. Yes, John is not joking. Mars is next. Mankind has finally mastered all the challenges this planet has to offer. We finally found a way to put mayo in beer. The peak of our species will be reached tonight. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Tonight is not just about mayonnaise. We've got some movies to make.
That's right. As always, today we're going to go through 5 beers at least and pull out 5 movie pitches and absolutely no preparation, except for Preparation H. But we detail that on a different podcast.
I think that's called Behind the Podcast Magic. Get it? Sit as much as we do. It comes with a cost, folks. Okay, enough puns for now. Hopefully you've got a beer or a strong cup of coffee or whatever floats your boat and you're ready to beer some movies with us.
And before we get into it, before we start recapping last week's episode, this is my opportunity to remind you all that, yes, we don't run advertisements on this podcast because we think your time is valuable. And if you think our time is valuable, just hit the subscribe button or like what we've done. You can hit a little like bubble or heart maybe. And even more so, send us a recommendation. We're going to feature one on tonight's Fast Five that one of our listeners sent in. So you can do the same thing. Just send Harrison a message.
That's right. Send it to me on Instagram. Tag us places. Let us know. We want you on the show, part of the show. It makes it fun for everybody. Cool. All right. With that, let's recap last week. So last week was a feature episode, and we picked Gator melts and patty melts from Hot Butcher for the World. That was the feature. Holy cowabunga. I mean, we laughed a lot. Oh my gosh. So as always, let's share some thoughts. I have a few, nothing crazy. John, do you have anything you want to start with?
I think every movie we do from now on should involve Southern people.
Man.
That I feel like that. I don't want to cheapen it, but I feel like that made it a lot more fun. But
absolutely,
I really love the characters Gator and Patty, and then eventually Terry Crews and the old rich guy from Swamp Tracks. I felt like it was a fun show to make, and maybe our first musical.
That's right. It definitely was our first musical. I love that we got one of those and kind of snuck it in. What kind of happened as we made it, it became a musical, which are the best kind of musicals, surprise musicals, when you sit down thinking you're going to watch something serious and all of a sudden people are singing and dancing. That was fun. I thought the overall vibe, we've done like some kind of 80s vibe movies with Ice Melter and Juicy Bits and probably some more I'm forgetting. This one felt like a 90s movie to me. What I mean by that is like, think of some classics like Black Sheep or Tommy Boy, all the Adam Sandler movies. They kind of, you could say, weren't too heavy on the plot. The plot was very simple. It was like, we've got to drive somewhere, we've got to save a house, save the family company, just do one thing. And a comedy or a trial of errors and a comedy of errors or whatever kind of follows us along as we try to get there. And that was kind of the story of Gator and Patty, which allowed us, I think, to have a lot of fun and get goofy with it. And yes, add a lot of accents. I'm glad that really started with The Hustle is Weird with the Italian accent.
Harrison's Italian accent.
Oh my gosh.
If only we could have bring it to back.
It may happen someday. And we've opened up a door there, so we've done it on almost every feature since, but that has been fun. I'm going to do, and I hope you guys are into it as well. And also, I did have that thought kind of afterwards. We kept talking a lot about the Everglades and the Bayou, and I guess we should realize those are different places, I guess, geographically, even though they're all on the Gulf.
It's a mixing pot,
Right.
America.
Yeah, it is.
You could be Bayou, Everglades people. That's
Right.
totally fine.
Good. I hope if you are an Everglader or a Bayou dude or dudette, you didn't get too offended by that. But lots of fun. Terry Crews, holy guacamole. I don't know. It was a good time. Lots of laughter. I hope you guys laughed along as well. Yeah, and we'll see. That was two kind of funny, lighthearted-ish movies back to back with What Resolution and then Gator Belt's Patty Melt. So we'll see if we get a three-peat or if we go down some deep, dark path tonight. You never know.
That's the fun part about this podcast is we don't even know.
We have no idea
where we're going to go.
about to happen.
Thank God we're going to drink a beer while we evaluate the beers you've drank.
That's right. So it's that time. John is going to fire up good old Untap. We're going to jump into the Fast Five. But first, we're going to talk about this beer that, yes, you heard correctly. It has mayonnaise in it, among other things. But when John told me about this, the word that stuck out in the beer description was absolutely mayonnaise. And I guess we should say not just mayonnaise, Duke's real mayonnaise, which if you've been to the South, from the South, you know that's really the only acceptable kind.
You may be thinking Kraft makes mayonnaise. Hellman's make mayonnaise.
They don't.
No. Once you've had Duke's, you'll understand what mayonnaise was supposed to be like.
That's right. Duke's is the source code. So, woof. All right, so let's talk about this beer. It's from Dissolver, our friends at Dissolver, who inspired The Hustle is Weird. It's a collaboration with Duke's Mayonnaise and Good Hot Fish, which is like a sandwich shop, right? Or a restaurant in Nashville.
Restaurant out in Nashville.
A fish
Carolina.
restaurant, right. So I'm going to read what the heck this thing is, and then I'm going to open it, and we're going to drink it, and we're going to see what happens to me. So it's called Good Hot Tomato. It is a hard juice with peach, tomato, Duke's mayonnaise, parsley, basil, dill. Whoo! So it's kind of like a salad in a glass. Let's read briefly what Dissolver had to say about it, and then we got some funny check-ins from Untappd we found of people also experiencing this beer. But from Dissolver, it's a peach tomato mayonnaise hard juice, and it's what happens when you throw caution to the wind. Inspired by Duke's Mayo's hot tomato summer, which is something Duke's did this summer, I guess, online. Forget about Hot Girl Summer.
Multi-city sort of mayonnaise tour. I think
hot mayonnaise in the South. There's nothing better than a hot bunch of mayonnaise in the summer. So with a little nudge from the legends at Good Hot Fish, that restaurant, we crafted a wild summertime classic. So this is peach tomato burrata salad in liquid form. Heirloom tomatoes, gallons of Duke's mayo, a dash of herbs, and a splash of peach. The result, a tangy, rich summer salad vibe and a drink. Yes, it's real. Yes, we used a lot of mayo. Cheers to weirdness. So I'm going to open this up, and we're gonna see what happens.
I'm pretty excited to see what. So Harrison and I are similar but different. I like beer that seems like it shouldn't exist. We're talking about the movie Twins. My beer is Danny DeVito. Harrison's tried and true. He's very, give me a beer that my great grandfather would have drank. So for me, this is going to be kind of fun.
I know, it always is. John has always get me out of my comfort zone. It smells kind of like a beer. I'm going to just take a big old swig of it. Oh,
okay, that's good.
It almost tastes like a wine.
Yeah,
there's like a whoo.
That might be the mayo.
There's that mayo. It's got a mayo-y mouthfeel. No, this is good. It's like very peachy. Peach is definitely the thing that comes out the most. I'm
grateful.
I'm still here. I didn't pass out. It didn't explode a bunch of mayonnaise on me, which would have been impossible. I don't know how they put mayonnaise in a beer. I'll have to.
That's a science question.
That is a science question. It's tough to get fat to stay in a liquid, but
you don't get it doesn't, like if I eat a deviled egg, I can taste that after I've eaten it.
Yes.
This doesn't have a residual mayo. I think you nailed it. It's really, if you just told me drink this weird peach juice beer thing, I'd be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So what we found you found some Untappd check-ins. What do we have?
Great comments on Untappd from a few people that have checked this in as advertised. Just don't know why I paid for it. Better than expected. Okay, I agree.
Like, yep, yeah.
Load of peach, no tomato or mayo, which is a good thing in theory.
Theory.
Another one said, I'm not brave enough to drink that one, which means you shouldn't have checked it in.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Not to be the untapped police here, but someone, Bravo, said 2 peach forward, give me more tomato and dill.
Maybe get a little tomato in there.
Like peach and tomato isn't you think, ugh, but that's not uncommon. Strawberry and tomato is a delicious, popular mixture in like a salad with the mozzarella or burrata cheese. So it's not like this is something that never existed. It just never existed in a 16-ounce can.
I know. And if you don't know DSSOLVR, they do this kind of stuff all the time. There are no rules. They have pickle beers and all kinds of beers that are very cool and crazy. So this one is just another one. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, cool. So we can drink this and find some other beers and turn them into movies. So let's go do that.
I guess that means it's time for the Fast Five. Shifts down into first gear.
Right in. First, is it first, second? I don't know.
First.
Sure. I guess you should start in first. You're right.
Start in neutral. Rev it up to about 7,000.
Right. The double
Kick
clutch?
it into first, drop the clutch. That's how you do your peel outs. Do that in the school parking lot in front of your girlfriend's house.
Bojangles.
Test it out. Do it everywhere. People love it.
Yeah, people do love it.
Your neighbors are going to love it. Your tire salesman's going to love
they'll
it.
definitely love it. The police will get to know you by your first name. It'll be fun. It's good. That's a good thing.
I'm just drinking some tomato peach beer, trying to do a burnout like the guys on the podcast told me.
Leave me alone.
And cops will probably let you go if you tell them you listen to Beer Me That Movie.
Yeah, they definitely were big in the police community. Huge. Huge.
So we're going to start the Fast Five tonight with our first beer that was submitted to us. Thank you, Brian D. I'll save your last name just in case you work in the public sector.
Right. Or a spy or something.
But thanks. So Brian shot us a message on Untapped, said he drank a couple of beers from this brewery called Eli Fish Brewing Company. And I'd never heard of them before, but they're based in Batavia, New York.
Nice.
Which is just about a half an hour north of Buffalo, New York. I actually lived there for about a year of my life. So
yes, you did.
Batavia, they also have a horse racing track. I think that's where I spent most of my time.
Beer and horses.
Right. I don't know if it still exists, but 15 years ago, that was the spot to be in Batavia.
That's right. Just hoping for a parlay or something. Whatever.
You got to hit that bet. I'm 2 months behind on my rent. I quit my job so I could spend more time in the track.
Right. It's good to be outside. It's good for my health, right?
My girlfriend said something like, never fucking come back here again. I hate you.
Right. I'll show her.
She's all so moody.
Right. I'll show her. I'll win them all. This is the one. Brittle shins to place.
I probably could have been retired by now. So we're going to drink this beer submitted by Brian, made by Eli Fish Brewing. It's called, and this will be familiar to Harrison, Midnight in Maui.
Midnight in Maui, which immediately makes me think of Banter and Twilight. a great our Rush Hour with 2 Jackie Chans that we did many Fast Fives ago. But this is different. I don't know. What do you have, John? What do you got? Midnight in Maui. It feels like, so there's that movie Midnight in Paris where a lot of magical things happen after midnight in Paris to Owen Wilson's character. He kind of time travels through the history of Paris. We don't need to do that for Maui, but
I don't know enough about the history of Maui.
It's
kind of colonial,
right?
So it's pretty bad.
Right? Yeah, not a lot.
And then it turned into tourism colonialism, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll stay away from the history of Maui. But I like the magic touch. So midnight is a significant time in magic and fairy tales. So my first thought is there's a businessman in Maui. He's from the mainland. He's a jerk. He went to Maui, bought a lot of property.
Okay.
He's making money, but he's not supporting the community.
Got it.
And he gets, this might not read well, but he gets like a curse put on him by some of the original people of the island. Sure. And what happens is during the day, I'll book your wedding. I'm an event manager. You'll have the best wedding ever. Bring your whole family down here. And then at midnight, this curse takes effect. And something kind of nefarious has to happen to him, Harrison. I don't know if he's turned into a sea turtle to have to understand what it's like to actually live off of the island. Maybe at midnight he turns into a female version of him.
Oh, all right. I like this.
To let's go all the way. He turns into a female version of himself with this pimp, and now he spends his day making money for himself, and at night he has to make money for the people of the island.
That's
the
right.
Native Hawaiians.
That's right. Instead of a fairy godmother, he has a fairy pimp mother who comes out of the shadows every night at midnight and is like, all right, your second life starts now. The only benefit of the curse is he magically isn't tired every morning. Well, I guess he's probably tired from the acts of the evening, but certainly sore and regretful. But maybe through seeing the island through the underbelly and the crime syndicates or whatever is happening there, opens his eyes to some things. There could be some learning there as a lady of the night.
Definitely. I mean, he probably even sees some of the guys that booked his hotel for the wedding.
Yes, completely different light.
Yeah, it is terrible because he knows, like, dude, you're getting married tomorrow.
Right, exactly. You don't want this.
And now,
for many reasons.
I raked you over the coals for the booking fee. Now you're raking me over the back of this Lexus pickup.
There's sand everywhere. They do. Anything can happen after midnight in Maui. Lexus has a truck. Somehow sand isn't everywhere in your loins. There's a lot of magic. This curse is interesting. There's a lot of cons, but a few small pros. This is I don't know how it ends. I don't know if there's a lesson learned or if he gets swallowed by the midnight side or
it might just end up being like a sort of a commercial to remind people that Hawaii isn't just a resort that we can take advantage of as mainlanders. Like, or maybe like through this horrible curse that he has afflicted on him, he starts to realize where he's like, oh, all these people coming here are just bending me over and giving me $20.
That's it.
This isn't a way to live. And then he's like, oh my God, I did that to everyone. Everyone that had a zip code here.
Yes, that's right. I've been doing this metaphorically for years.
I think Mark Zuckerberg actually did that to Hawaii. Like, he built like a gigantic compound and fenced people out of the land that they inherited from their grandmothers.
That's right. My beach now. No more fresh water for you. I needed to fill my swimming pool. Thanks, Mark. Okay, good. There's definitely a lesson there. We'll come at it in our own special Beamer That Movie way. But I love Midnight in Maui. That would be NC-17 if we're lucky, if we do it right. Oh my gosh. All right, cool. Well, that was a great one. Thank you, Brian.
Now we're going to go to the Untapped feed and actually see what y'all have been drinking live.
Let's do it.
So let's jump into the activity. We'll give it a little spin. And let's see what's coming up for beer number 2. We're going to stop on beer from Sisyphus Brewing, which is a great story of a man that worked in a regular office job.
Exactly right. We're all Sisyphus. If you don't think you are, you're an idiot.
So this beer is checked in from Joshua, and it's called Keeper of Darkness.
Yes, Keeper.
The Keeper of the Darkness.
Right. Interesting. Like a zookeeper, maybe.
He's just got darkness chain. He's like, I can't let this out until sunset.
That's right. But let you look at it for a nickel. Okay, sir.
I imagine initially like this old Egyptian urn where the darkness is kept and then like it's magically opened every night at midnight.
Yeah, it's
if you just watched midnight. And that's when the darkness comes out and then you have to like whistle for it to come back in the jar. And the jar's the keeper.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I think we can do more. We can do better. What else you got?
It could be, okay, so follow me. There's a priest. No, I'm just kidding. But similarly, it could be just the story of like a therapist that accidentally advertised on Craigslist and got some foul confessions.
Business. Where do I go?
And this therapist is keeping their darkness and probably like trying to absolve them. Like, oh yeah, you just have to create 2 new humans to offset those 2.
Right.
Like the therapist is like over the course of their career is absorbed all these nasty secrets.
Ooh, I like this. Yeah, so they've kind of become the keeper of darkness. So yeah, a lifetime therapist getting worn down by the job, which it's probably exhausting if all day you just hear people complain and confess about the horrible things or horrible thoughts or great service every therapist out there is doing for us all to helping people exercise these things, but at quite a cost, I'm sure. And so if we explore that, yeah, this therapist is weighed down with all these emotions, thoughts, other people's demons, and maybe gets visited one day, closing up. Oh no, all done till tomorrow. And a wayward traveler convinces them to have one more session, just dropped into town for the night, and basically offers her a deal that's too good to pass up.
I like this.
Right, that is essentially like, I know you're weighed down with all these horrible thoughts from your patients. I can rid you of all of them. And as happens in these movies, she doesn't read the fine print, and the fine print is the way to get rid of them is she or he, I keep saying she or he, has to act out all of the deep, dark secrets from her patients, has to commit these whatever atrocities or fears or infidelities or whatever they are, and that's how she gets them out of her head, but is now they're living in the world, something like that.
You could even so it's like a devil's contract sort of thing. Like, I'm somewhat of a healer,
right? Exactly,
and
just an extended warranty.
Now I have to do these to get them out of my head.
Right?
Maybe it could even, we could take a tech aspect and make it like a virtual reality thing that she has to go through these. Maybe she doesn't know until she's completed the first one, and then she realizes it's virtual reality, and this whole thing is a setup by this devil to get her to complete something for him.
Okay.
So she's like, oh, well, okay. So yeah, I have to be unfaithful to a husband, and I have to drown a kid in a pool. Oh God, that came out too easy. But now I know it's virtual reality. So I'll get through 2 of these tonight, and then they won't keep me up at night. And then as she gets more comfortable with it, he's like, all right, there's one more that you have to complete, and you won't remember any of these. It's just this. And she's like, oh, I don't even remember this one. Yeah, it's rooted deep down. You've repressed it. But little does she know, she's not wearing the AR goggles for this one.
Yes.
This is like a real thing.
I like this. The devil shuffling the deck and hiding the real evil deed in the middle.
Wouldn't he, though?
Yeah, of course. And I like that. And so she's got to kind of try to figure it out, what's actually going on. Does she have free will at this point? Or maybe she does, but again, she's like, no, this is the deepest, darkest one that's in my head. I need to get it out. So does she outsmart the devil? Does she give up? I don't know. We don't know. If we do it, we'll figure it out, obviously, if it's the feature. But I like that, the Keeper of Darkness. Whoo! Glad I don't have that job.
Sure. Sometimes you think you got it bad.
Right. You're not dealing with a devil in a video game who's destroying your life.
Being a therapist would be kind of sis. Yep, I told you yesterday that, right. If you keep doing this, you're going to keep hating it.
That's right. How'd it go? Are you still biting your nails? Yep. Okay, good.
All right, good.
48
good
minutes
thing your
left.
Insurance covers it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
We'll try again. Try again.
All right, that's beer number 2, Keeper of Darkness. Already 2 down. We're looking for number 3. Beer number 3 is going to be from Abomination Brew.
Nice.
Given to us by Ty, and we're getting close. It's already upon us. This one is called Forbidden Pumpkin.
Ooh, forbidden.
Forbidden. Not the pumpkin you see at Trader Joe's.
No, that's
this
easy.
one is forbidden.
That's a bidden pumpkin. This is a forbidden.
Yeah. It's just a pumpkin up for auction.
Right.
That one's forbidden.
I mean, yeah, in parts of the country, right, this is just a normal pumpkin at a fair. Some Free Teeth is trying to sell for a little bit of a markup. So that's forbidden. That one's forbidden for later. Okay. Let's put a pin in that, and let's.
It's a pumpkin with a clever circular hole in it. That gets used at the Boy Scout retreat.
Don't carve it yet.
That one's not for eating. That one's forbidden.
Can't make a pie out of that one. Okay. So
we already have.
There it is. So let's have it be none of those things.
Okay.
Instead,
thanks for saving me.
Instead, let's see where this goes. I have, as always, 1% of an idea. But let's say we're in a small town somewhere, as we always are in these shows. there's a pumpkin patch every year, the biggest pumpkin. It's kind of just known that you don't pick the biggest, you leave that one alone so that next year it can sprout. It's the mother pumpkin, and it can sprout all the other pumpkins for next year. An old man,
like a little bit of lore, like ice melter, like the town knows.
Sure, yeah. You just,
some of the kids, like I don't know, Pigpen and Charlie Black.
Yeah, those guys go around and they dare each other to touch it or whatever, dance near it, but you can't squish it, can't break it. And yeah, lots of respect to this pumpkin because it gives birth to all the other pumpkins every year, whatever. But of course, this year a little different. Someone decides to grab the forbidden pumpkin, steal the forbidden pumpkin. What happens to them? I don't know. Do they turn into some kind of pumpkin monster? The pumpkin, and try to conquer the town with pumpkin magic and shooting pumpkin spice lattes in everyone's face. And this could be a funny, campy movie. This could be a legit scary movie. We could go a bunch of different ways with it. But yes, I've got a huge pumpkin, half man, half pumpkin monster with the magic of the night and the fall harvest running through his pumpkin seed filled veins, and he's just kind of torture everybody. What was your what do you got?
Well, I like when you said like the funny scary movie ideas. I think very on brand for us, but making it just scary. The forbidden pumpkin doesn't like transform you into this pumpkin monster, but it does transform your mind. So like maybe it's just a kid, maybe it's a couple kids that touch the pumpkin and seemingly nothing happens, no big deal, and they go home, and then there's a scene where like mom's preparing dinner and one of the kid like goes to shove her in the oven. She's like, what are you doing, Junior? And he's just like laughing. Like, and that then it could kind of develop into a more sinister plot where the forbidden pumpkin wants to get rid of humans because they keep taking its baby.
Exactly right. That's it. That we learn through some flashback or whatever that it used to be like a wild pumpkin field, and old farmer Hackett found it and it was like, I'm going to make some money off these pumpkins, and just stealing all these pumpkin babies and giving away to the town. And it's revenge. It's using the town's children to get revenge for all of the pumpkin children that were taken.
I will take your children and I will turn them against you.
Baking them into human pies and baking them into human cakes, whatever you make into pumpkin soup, like a human soup. That could be, I love that. And there's this evil, well, now forced into I don't know, we can call this pumpkin evil. Maybe it's just vengeful. The humans are the evil ones. Tries to wipe the town out and take the forest back so it can be free with its pumpkin babies in this field.
Or even you could go the route of like they decide this year they're going to eat the pumpkin and it gets spread them out amongst pies and bake sales and lattes and people start, it's like a slow burn, so you don't just drink your forbidden pumpkin latte and kill the person next to you. It takes a while, so there's time for it to infect, but then you get like a killer bees thing happening where this scientist starts to put the pieces together and they're like, don't eat the pumpkin. We don't know which ones are forbidden and which ones are regular, but we really love pumpkin. I'm just going to have this one. No, don't eat it.
Don't do it. It's in the pumpkin. It's in the pie. A few folks have figured it out. Maybe outsiders, they're doing some research on pumpkins. We have a lot of pumpkin knowledge.
Bill Murray comes down with the local news. Hey, folks, today we actually ate the forbidden pumpkin I report on every year.
That's right. It finally happened. It took 250 years.
He takes a bite.
Ready. Yep. And then instantly, starts to, or whatever, it overtakes him, becomes a puppet of the pumpkin. I like that. And it could have some really creepy final scene where like everyone kind of in a zombie state that's still alive returns to the field and like falls down in a pile and like decays into another large pumpkin or something. The earth takes all the pumpkin vines, kind of wrap themselves around all the people, and then
next year's pumpkins have like fingernails in them.
There we go.
So, like I remember the final scene in Suspiria. Like that. Well, not the final scene, but like when they're all down there in the cave getting ready to sacrifice for the and it's pretty impactful scene. This is what I think of when everyone returns to the pumpkin patch.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
It calls calls them. Oh,
Yep.
reminds me of that time that we defeated AI by asking
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
The movie with the traveling dentist.
Yep.
But in this case, it's Forbidden Pumpkin.
This one, like, the pumpkin wins, and right next year's pumpkins have teeth and watches and jewelry and stuff in them. Whoever,
and that's why there's
alive.
witches involved in Halloween, because now we need to get the witches to come battle the pumpkin next
that's
year.
the sequel.
Witches aren't the bad guys here; they're defending us from the pumpkins.
That's
Why do you
right.
think we carve faces on them and
That's
put them
right.
on the porch?
The second one will be the Ditch Witch versus the Pumpkin or whatever, and that'll be a sick Alien-style sequel where it's way more action. The first one's a slow burn. The second, the sequel, it's a full-on action of
It's
witches
like John
versus
Wick, but
pumpkins.
Sigourney Weaver.
Right. Just with a trowel, just stabbing pumpkins in the face, throwing them in her cauldron. That could be a good time. We got 2 movies almost out of that one. All right.
Couple different directions. We'll evaluate this as we get through our 5, but we're looking for number 4 next. So beer number 4 tonight is brought to us from Ghost Town Brewing.
Ghost Town.
Checked in by Julie. This one is called Cone Goblin.
Cone Goblin.
Cone Goblin.
Cone Goblin. I'm known to gobble some corn, but never some cones. As far as I know.
The only way to eat corn is to gobble it. If you're doing anything less, it's a disservice to yourself.
You got to eat it fast, otherwise you feel all in between your teeth, and then you get distracted. You got to eat corn quick.
There's a scene in the movie War Games
Okay.
where they're sitting at the table,
Yes.
and the dad takes a slice of bread and he butters the slice of bread
Right.
heavily. And you're like, why is he doing that? And then he takes a cob of corn and he puts it on the bread and rolls it around, and that butters his corn.
Love it.
And I was like, man, I've been living like a caveman.
Right, exactly. I'm an idiot. Everything I know is a lie. I love that. You got buttered bread and buttered corn.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
It's all you need.
Throw some hot sauce on there, but that doesn't help us with Cone Goblin. So the Cone Goblin is fun. It's funny to imagine a goblin with like a dog cone on his head.
Sure, right, or covered in pine cones, or comes out of pine cones, but...
Okay, pine cones is pretty prevalent.
Yeah, that, sure. There are a lot of them.
I'm sorry to what does the pine cone goblin want?
Exactly. I don't know, more pine cones. That's not...
I like when it sticks to my hand.
Covered in it. Covered in the pine cones. Cover me more.
I guess it'd be resin. Sorry.
Right.
Arborists.
Yeah, they're a vocal bunch. Don't piss them off. They won't send you a letter, though. It's too
But
many.
40 years later, you have a tree coming out of your living room. The arborist got me.
That seed. Okay, so let's have it not be any of those kind of cones. We could make this a brewery focused movie. That's what I'm assuming this is referring to, the cone, which is like, well, cones like hop cones. That's one kind of cone.
Okay.
Also the bottom of most fermenters they call that the cone. It's shaped kind of like a cone. That was my first thought, was like, someone's not cleaning the bottom of the tanks well. The Cone Goblin's gonna come yell at you, who would have been my boss, who's just saying, hey, hey, asshole, you're
not going home till that's clean.
Number 5 looks like garbage. Get back there. But he's not a Cone Goblin. He's a human. But maybe we take that idea. There's some kind of mischievous, like a Chloricon.
I was going to say, I'm getting Chloricon vibes. Not the egg in the hat.
Right, the butter in the shoes. Protect your shoes and your hats. A lot of butter talk in this beer.
So I like, so the Cone Goblin is like a brewery nuisance, you need to have a cat in your brewery to go after the vermin that attack your malt.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to protect yourself from a Cone Goblin.
Yeah.
Is there?
I don't think there is, and maybe that's... Again, we'll see where this takes us, but I see this maybe being a darker than we expect movie, where like the Cone Goblin, is a real goblin, and maybe it's a group of brewers who have kind of fallen a little slack on the cleaning, and they think they're the bee's knees, and getting lost in the hype machine a little bit, and forgetting that if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. There's always something that should be washed, and things are getting dirty, and they attract a Cone Goblin somehow, and that's how they learn about it. Is they come in and they just have their brewery cat is dead, like sprawled out on a table in the brewery one morning, and they're like, who did this? Some human. There'd have to be someone that would come in though and kind of know right away what they're dealing with at some point, who's like experienced maybe a Cone Goblin before, but this is like a poltergeist type.
So I know you want to keep it kind of dark and sad, but you did that with a dead cat. Maybe like some lupulin powder sprinkled on it.
Yeah.
They don't know what that means. The cat probably got into the hops, went cat crazy. A couple of weird things at the brewery, and then they finally get. So these guys specialize in. They're in America. They specialize in hazy New England IPAs.
Lame.
And they want to expand, so they bring this brewer from Germany.
Okay.
And he's going to help build their lagers.
All right.
And he comes by, and at first he's like, "Oh, this place is German. Okay, German. This place is a mess." I don't think that was a good German, but I don't want to sound like Hitler.
Right. Exactly right.
So yeah, he yells at them, and then he sees the cat. Maybe he shows up that day. And you. Damn. He's not German. He's like a Slovak.
Yeah. Traveler.
You have Cone Goblin. Cone Goblin is here. Now he's Conan.
That makes sense.
But he knows. So this is part of like lore where like we have Santa Claus, they have Krampus,
right?
We have house mouses, they have Cone Goblins, but they're a much more serious thing.
Oh yeah.
And so he knows what this problem is, and there's like maybe he starts to introduce like rituals. Of course we have to clean.
Yeah.
First we're gonna have to burn some.
Oh man, yeah.
Sage.
Burn some sage. Burn some hops for the Cone Goblin. He'll have to convince him, but of course he comes in and nobody believes him. Like, this guy's a Looney Tune.
Exactly.
Crazy Europeans with their socialized medicine. Can't be trusted. We hired him though. Yeah. And then something else happens.
That's weird. He said brew beer cold.
Right. Yeah. Then the Cone Goblin gets into the grain, or maybe a fermenter falls and almost crushes some of the guys, and maybe they catch a glimpse of the Cone Goblin. So at some point they're like, okay, holy crap, Klaus is telling the truth and the Cone Goblin's here. So then, yeah, they got to exorcise that demon, sacrifice some hops. Maybe it's not easy to get a Cone Goblin out once it gets in.
This could be like a dark moment where they finally come to Klaus. Like, what do we do? The Cone Goblin will only leave when he has had his fill of blood.
Right. What?
Well, I cut my finger on the canning machine. Does that count?
No, much more blood.
The cat was just a taste of what's to come.
Gonna get some more cats.
Never be in the brew house alone. Always have someone with you.
Right. I love that. And if we pick this as the movie, we'll figure out what magical device or thing. Is it friendship? Is it love?
They have to brew a tomato beer.
A huge axe.
Tomato mayonnaise.
Tomato mayonnaise beer to scare it away, right? Because it can't have anything fattening. It just lives off of beer or garbage. But as soon as something like mayonnaise hits it evaporates. Yeah, it's allergic to fat. I don't know. We'll work that out. But I like this. I like Cone Goblin. He's kind of terrifying. Kind of looks like a gremlin, probably. And yeah, that would be fun to do. Have a bunch of drunk people trying to not get murdered by a Chloricon type Cone Goblin.
Yeah, and there's a time like they're entering one of their beers into GABF in a couple of the Great American Beer Festival, and they haven't been able to brew anything ever since the Cone Goblin got the cat. All their pH is off. They're not able to hit any of their metrics. The canning machine, the lids are upside down. Everything's a mess.
Right. They bring in a witch, maybe. Klaus has more knowledge. This would be fun to workshop this out and figure out how the heck do we get rid of a Cone Goblin.
I will call my people from the old country.
Right.
What, a priest? No, an assistant brewer.
Who's also a witch. Okay.
That's why she has the broom. She's just always cleaning.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or flying. Yeah. All right, that'd be fun.
Well, that's 4 down. That
is.
Based on my math, what's that, 75, 80,
something like that, 83? Yeah, that's what I got.
We're 4/5 of the way done, and we're looking for number 5. Okay, for our 5th and final Fast 5 beer tonight, it's from Coppertail Brewing.
Nice.
They're out in Tampa, right?
Oh, boy. Tampa or somewhere in Florida, yes.
Somewhere in Florida.
Yes.
Got it.
Could be Tampa.
Checked in by Kurt. This beer is called Free Dive.
Free Dive. So we're going to avoid the instinct to make this a shark movie or whatever, because there's a million of those.
Free dive is when you go underwater without scuba gear.
Correct.
Is that right?
Just your breath.
I free dive thousands of times.
Right.
In my life, every time a wave hits me.
Exactly right. Not by choice. Right? After
Free dive, and I'm going up onto the shore.
Where's my bathing suit? Yeah, that's right. But let's go. I have an idea. Let me know what you think, John.
Yes.
So we're on it's a prison in the middle of the ocean.
I'm in.
But we're on like an old decommissioned oil rig or something. It's been converted to a prison. And obviously you can't escape from the middle of the ocean. But it can't even get off the rig, if you will.
I mean, I've seen those oil rigs, and it's terrifying.
Right.
Like, you don't even need a fence in this prison.
Right, exactly.
You got a 20-mile swim.
Something like that. Yeah, right. It's you're far enough away where you'll die, but maybe like everyone who tries to escape, there's only one way to do it, and it's like an underground tunnel that's full of water. So you got to free dive, and everyone dies, drowns. Then the evil warden pulls their bodies up and lays them on the deck to be like, "Don't be like these idiots. There's no escape.
This is why we don't have a fence."
Right. No escape from my rig. Right. Exactly. I know who plays him. We'll have fun with that.
Danny Glover
Perfect. There we go. All right.
gets to finally play an evil guy from his loaded weapon days.
Right. He's not too old for this. But the story follows maybe he's like a former Navy SEAL. Maybe that's too obvious. Maybe he's just a Navy cook, someone who's familiar with water. He's a prisoner wrongfully accused. So we've got some Con Air vibes and The Rock happening at the same time.
I love this.
Con Air and The Rock together. Everyone who's over 30 is sold. And yeah, it's that story of he's got to train by, plunging his head in the toilet. And if you hold your breath for 5.5 minutes, you're free. It's just a montage of him swirling himself. 4.5. You could do better. 4.40.
There's like a Mick character.
Yes.
Just letting him know. He's like, I've seen people leave at 5 minutes. I've seen people leave that could do 6 minutes, and they all end up out there on the deck.
That's right.
Seagull food.
That's what you'll be too. And he's got to learn to hold his breath. It becomes someone is like, it's not in your lungs, it's all in your mind. And maybe there's like an old former surfer dude who's on there. He's the oldest prisoner, and he has the secret to unlock it all. It was pinned down by a big wave of Maui. After a wild midnight, I had to surf to clear my mind. And
She moved like a woman, but she spoke like a man.
And I liked it, damn it. I was held down by a wave for 10.5 minutes, and I'm here to tell the story. And so he's got his guide and whatever. It's a goofy, ridiculous Con Air meets The Rock movie where an innocent man learns.
I mean, I think like Shawshank, one of the greatest movies ever made. Even to a slighter tune like Gladiator, the wrongful imprisonment.
Yeah.
There's a way out, and we don't make the audience unaware of this. Like, they know right away. Maybe eventually they learn that this guy is wrongly accused and he's here and he's not supposed to be. He doesn't deserve this sentence. But he still has to find his own way out.
Right.
And it's like a journey. I almost want it to be less comedic.
Sure.
More of like a real struggle where I'm rooting for this guy, and then we think we're going to go, and then the tunnel collapses or something like that happens, and then we got to find so what you're saying is like you have to hold your breath for long enough to get to the tunnel, and then once you're in the tunnel, there's like air pockets, so you'll be able to effectively walk to freedom.
Maybe, right. Where does the tunnel go? Why is the tunnel there? What utility does it serve? None of that. We've covered none of that. But yeah, I don't know if it just gets you out far enough away from the rig, or there has to be another. That was my original thought, was like, if you time it right, when the food barge comes every 2 weeks, if you escape then, you can just grab onto the end of it. It goes right over the end of the tunnel. You'll be home free if you time it right to mainly something like that.
You got to hit that barge, right? Because that's a great setup for a potential sort of ending where he just misses the barge, and now we're like, man, this is the 5th time you broke my heart.
Right,
it's going to happen.
Right, or the warden is on the barge waiting waiting for him, and there's a final showdown on the barge where he has to battle the warden and turn him into seagull food, and then freeze the whole prison. Then he is Spartacus or whatever.
That would also technically be kind of bad.
Releases, and for a moment you're like, yeah. They're like, wait. Most of these people are criminals.
That guy said he murdered 13 people,
and he can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Why is he doing this? Why is this the way this movie's ending? Yeah, right. And then he dies. They kill him. I mean, that's like
Tarantino is very good at making me root for the bad guy, or making me wish like terrible things to happen. Like the scene in Joker, when he's getting interviewed by what's the famous Italian guy from Goodfellas that everyone loves.
Oh boy, from Goodfellas.
Yep,
in Joker,
and he was also in the boxing movie.
Raging Bull?
Yep.
De Niro,
yes. Thank you. De Niro, the talk show host, is interviewing
the Joker,
and he's kind of being a jerk to the Joker.
Yes.
But he's just being a talk show host. He's just asking some questions. And like, you as the audience member are thinking, I hope the Joker kills this guy. And if you were watching David Letterman ask tough questions, you would never think like, I hope he gets killed.
Right.
But in the movie, there's a little bit of magic that can happen there. Maybe we would root for a 14-time murderer to be freed at the end for a little bit.
For a little while. Until the credits roll, and we can all walk away and deal with, why was I happy about that? So we walked to the parking lot. All right. So that's, all right, free dive.
That's the fifth. So we've got 5 of them in the belt, in the chamber.
Yeah.
In the
outside of the vault.
Pistol holster?
Sure. Yeah. That. Right here in front
of us.
In
the glove box. It's a fast 5. We got 5 in the glove box.
Thank you.
Do you want to put 2 more in the cup holder?
At least. Yeah, let's do 2. We did 2 last time. Let's do 2 more.
And then I'm going to skip our mid-show recap because sometimes I hate editing that. So I'm going to skip that, and we'll do 2 more, and then we'll just see what we can remember.
That's it.
To pick next week's feature.
It's part of the show.
All right, so coming up for ultimatum number 1. For tonight's first ultimatum, this beer is from Clag Brewing Company.
Nice.
Given to us from Amir. It's called And Now It's Here.
Excuse me. Now it's here. The mayonnaise burps are here for me. Okay. So here's my first thought when I see this, because it's my worst nightmare.
Oh, great.
It's not my worst, but it is something I think about a lot as a procrastinator. So I think it follows a average Joe type who, like all of us, says too often, oh yeah, I'll get that tomorrow. Get that tomorrow. Get that the weekend. We'll do that then.
That's when I do my laundry and chores.
That's it. Always tomorrow. So constantly delaying, chores, but also the girl he likes. Want to go out? Maybe next week. Hey, want a free vacation? Maybe next year. Kind of delaying fun stuff too. Just kind of is, for whatever reason, putting his life on hold. Maybe he's terrified of having a good time. Maybe he's just stuck in a rut, stuck in the rat race, can't get himself out of it, doesn't want to get himself out of it for some unknown reason. But he's visited by some kind of ghost of Christmas past type character and is like, all right, now it's here. Like, this is it. What's it? All the tomorrows, all the stuff you put off, all the things you said you were going to do. You have to do all of them now, today, or there will be no tomorrow. And so it's almost like a liar, yes man type movie where he's thrown into having to say yes, having to do the stuff he didn't want to do, right, the laundry, the dishes, whatever, all that stuff, and then also say yes to the girl and go on the date, go on the trip, fight for the promotion, whatever. And it's kind of like a feel-goody thing. Maybe it's not. I mean, that's where we can kind of have fun with it, but that's what I have. Kind of all the tomorrows, all the things you put off. The bills due. What do you do?
All the good things, all the bad things.
Right.
I like, my first thought when you were leading me down this path was like, and now it's here is death.
Okay.
And,
okay.
And no one knows this because you're not allowed to say it. But what happens is death shows up and he's like, hey, I'm going to be here tomorrow for you.
Right.
So now it's here. He knows.
Oh God!
Like all the things I put off. I've only got one day to really live my life, and then maybe to steal from you.
I like this.
As he's like, oh, well, okay, I got to figure out what the most important thing was. The dentist bill? No.
Right.
Maybe it was like going to see Patty at the bar. So he calls Patty and he's like, hey, are you free? Do you want to meet at the bar tonight? I'd love to catch up with you. And she's like, oh my God, yeah. And they meet up. And then Death doesn't show up the next day.
Yes.
So he's like, oh, was this like, did I make this? Well, I had fun with Patty. So it like this visit from Death prompts him to start living his life. And because he's living his life, Death is like, I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass. But then there's like, so it turns into kind of a happy movie, but then something happens. He abandons Patty, or like he does something objectively wrong. And that's when Death shows up to come get him. But then it makes him realize like he missed his kid's soccer practice. And he was like, so maybe it ends up just being a movie to remind us all that maybe doing the laundry tomorrow is fine, but you should live your life a little bit. Live
your life while you can. Yes, I love that. I love that twist. I love that Death is kind of giving you one last chance every day. Right. If you're not living your life, Death might be coming for you. So move it or lose it. Cool. I love that. We could have a lot of fun there, build a whole thing with it. I like it. Now it's here. It's Death's kind of final warning.
Someone once told me a thing once that still kind of haunts me, and I was going through a period I was in the Army, and I was scared that I was gonna maybe have to face something like death. And someone said, like, death is always coming for you. You just don't know how far away he is.
There you go.
And they said it so plainly that I was like, oh man, I need to live every day. I need to quit the Army and go back and meet my high school girlfriend. You're right. I believe
what am I doing? Oh, I don't need to run right towards him. I guess I can get that out of here.
But I love that line has stuck with me for like 20 years, and maybe like his girlfriend even says something like that to him, where it makes him think like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to go to every practice the kids have. Anyways, I don't know.
No, I see it.
Scary line.
I like that, but a great line, a line you need to hear. That's right. That's a motivating thought. All right, sick.
True. It's Wednesday when this episode comes out, but make dinner plans with your significant other.
That's right. Do it. Live it. Live that life. Get off your phone. Let's finish this podcast and keep the phone nearby.
Keep the phone. And dinner could also just be Taco Bell. Like a chalupa brought to you is sometimes better than bringing me to a white tablecloth dinner.
It almost always is.
Yeah.
Get that Baja Blast, baby.
Yeah. All right, so that's one ultimatum down, and now it's here, and now it's gone. We're looking for number 2. Okay, we've got our last ultimatum for the night given to us from Oscar Blues.
Nice.
I think this is her first appearance on the podcast.
I think you're right.
Checked in by Dwayne. This beer is called It's a Spam Call.
Oh boy, it's a spam call.
And the label on the beer makes you think of the canned meat for sure.
Oh yeah, spam. Spam and eggs, spam and toast, spam and bacon, spam and spam.
Spam is kind of universal. It's not something I eat very much. To be honest, I think it's kind of overpriced.
Yeah, I've heard. It's extremely salty. I've never had it. It's kind of like a long cubed hot dog.
87% salt with meat paste to hold its form.
Meat, yeah. But, okay, so there's probably a play here with spam calls, spam, meat.
Oh, it's like working at the call center for spam.
Or
probably a blast 50 years ago.
Right,
now
exactly.
It's like,
do you want a truckload of spam?
Do you have spam in a can?
Yeah, right. Spam in the can. But also it reminds me of that movie that we've talked about a couple times on here. I always call it by the wrong name. What is it? Sorry to Bother You, or whatever.
Sorry for Bothering You.
Yes,
that movie about working in a call center.
Exactly, that is really a call center. So let's start there, because it is a spam call. But let's get weird.
We might as well. It's our last movie of the night.
So for some reason, let's see if we can make this work. For some reason, I'm seeing, well, I think it should start with, again, Joe Schmo, down on his luck, takes the job at the call center and thinks he's working for, Johnson & Johnson Remortgage Company or Berry and Berry Life Insurance or whatever.
Tursky
and Red, calling around town to peddle their wares, and thinks it's a legit job, and is told on every call you got, if they sign up this month, they get entered in a raffle to go to Hawaii.
That's how you close the deal.
That's how you close the deal, kid. That's how you close them. Says his sweaty, overweight floor manager.
You see that 2009 Lexus out there?
That's mine. Almost paid off. It will be mine soon. A little bit of problem with the repo company, but no. Anyway.
3 of the windows rolled down.
That's right. I'll get the AC fixed when it's not that hot out. It's only Florida. And so he's working for this, what he thinks is a semi-legit company, cold calling all day, getting hung up on, getting yelled at. And maybe starts to, I don't know, like uncover that something else is afoot here. Maybe he accidentally wins like the getaway himself. Like every year we send one guy down there to upsell people at these.
He remortgages his mom's house because he doesn't have one.
Right.
But he needs to close a deal to keep his job.
That's it. So there we go. Perfect. And somehow his mom wins. So he decides to go with her. Maybe she goes alone. Anyway, we can figure this all out. But we learn that like what's really happening behind the curtain is there is a large sentient can of spam that's calling all the shots. That's a great puppet master that has set up all these companies to call people, selling whatever they're selling. But that's not the spam's end game. The end game is the giveaways to Hawaii, where spam is taken off since I think World War II as a popular food item, and it wants to, the sentient spam, its plan is to get enough people to Hawaii to enjoy spam, to get enough spam in their blood, to use its magic spam telepathy powers to take over the world. Take over the world. That's it. That's all. That's it.
I kind of stopped paying attention at giant sentient spam.
That's what everyone else locked in, John.
And I was visualizing, like, how am I going to make that on the YouTube channel?
That's right. Make it easy for you.
So I love this, and I almost kind of think in the film, if we make it, I like the idea that this kid is grinding, trying to make a living, remortgages his mom's house after begging her, like anyone that ever sold Cutco knives or vacuum cleaner. The first sale was like your mom and dad. Yep. Oh, they're great knives. They last forever. Look at me chop them. Whoops. Oh, boy.
There goes my
so like got his mom the sale. She ends up winning, but maybe he doesn't start to unpack that this giant sentient spam is running the company, but as the audience, we start to benefit from being just the audience, where we see our protagonist going through this, and then we get to kind of follow the thread up to like that guy who has the 2009 Lexus, who's his boss, and then you start to see this like, or hear this like slurred breathing, like, and he's like, I want him to be presented as like the Warren Buffett of this world, but he is a literal can of spam.
Yes.
Maybe with arms and legs.
Yeah, maybe that's the final reveal, is he's sentient and now powerful enough.
He starts to like to move. Uncan himself.
Exactly
as
right.
the credits roll.
Yep. Oh my God.
And so, okay, so this is weird.
It is.
But half of the movie makes sense. It's
right.
Little Joey trying to earn an honest living, selling bullshit products by calling strangers and capitalizing on the ones that are bored enough to talk to him.
100%.
But then we also get the other half of the movie, which is sentient spam.
Love this.
Launching a campaign against organics and vegans and vegetarians.
Exactly.
And restaurant chains that don't serve him. And so the idea is, if we get people to go to Hawaii, they'll see how beautiful spam is, and they'll bring it back to the mainland. Hawaii is like that's his
right. He's
his
one
heaven.
There.
Yes,
right.
that's his
great cost to the people of Hawaii, but the sentient spam, super spam, father spam, whatever we'll call him, maybe he just has no name. But I love it. And he's a Warren Buffett, right? He set up shell corporations. He's worth billions of dollars, but that's not enough He's been discarded his whole life, laughed at, not even real meat, spam in a can. What a joke.
I am everything.
Right.
I am everything that humans need to survive.
Right.
Give me your leftover cows and pigs and goats, squirrels and chickens.
Beaks and bones.
All the things that you discard, I beautifully package with a lot of salt. And I make into this edible meat paste in the form of the can. And I come in Asian flavors, and I have a cheese flavor. I've added. I've diversified. So we start to learn that Spam is just hell-bent on, he wants to be the sole food. He doesn't want to end humanity.
Right.
He wants to end people that live off of rabbit food.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
people that eat Wagyu beef.
Yep, none of that.
Wasting time.
They're getting in his way. But that's the plan. This sentient Spam thinks it all starts with getting people to Hawaii and letting the spam culture do its thing. And maybe he's right. We should all be watching out for the great sentient spam in the sky and whatever nefarious plans it may have. That's a movie. I mean, that's a story. I don't know if anyone would make it a movie except for us.
True.
But
it is pretty weird. But it does make me think of that. Like, sorry to bother you. Sorry for whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird as hell.
Yes, it is.
But it's such a memorable film.
Amazing.
We just need a way to make nefarious big spam into like a sort of believable, maybe is like an analogy for like big pharma.
Or everything. I think you're right. All the waste of humanity is bottled up in spam. So what do you do when you're so wasteful? Where do all the odds and ends go? Well, they come back eventually in the form of sentient spam to tell you, let you know your bill's due.
And like, you can't watch TV without seeing a commercial about a pill that'll change your eye color and make you live longer if you take it 50 times a day for only $3,000 a month. And also, so then like you see our protagonist selling refi mortgages, but then you also see some of the other companies where like he's even got people at Best Buy demoing vacuum cleaners. He's like, this one's 20% on sale. They saved $150. That's like, I don't know, 100 cans of spam.
That's a pretty good deal.
It's like, what?
Why do you keep measuring everything in spam? I don't know. Doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah. 6 Toyotas or 5 truckloads of spam. However you want to measure your extra finance.
Pallet a day keeps the doctor away. Spam. Yes. Yep. This is awesome. I love this movie. I love that it's a spam call. Is way more than you thought behind those annoying blocked numbers that keep hitting you up.
Yeah, and it does kind of explain why you get so many weird phone calls that I've never answered.
They're on a mission.
It's a spam call.
Mission paradise disguised in a trip to paradise.
That could get workshopped if we turned into a feature. And speaking of turning it into a feature... We've now got the glorious task of trying to remember most of the beer
number one
on this show.
Figure that out.
It's a podcast where we don't take notes, so a lot of this happens via good old-fashioned memory. Old being the word old.
Good being a stretch. All right.
Spam call. We've got free dive.
Thank goodness.
We've got midnight in Maui.
We started there.
That's how my brain works. And then the middle is just like the road trip that got me to where I'm going.
Oh, no. Well, okay. Was Free Dive? Was that the first ultimatum?
I think so. Or
the last
beer
movie?
Can't really remember. Anyone listening hopefully is having the same trouble that we are.
They're probably not. Midnight in Maui, and then man, oh man, I don't know.
Sometimes this is how they're picked too.
That is true. The ones that there were some other good ones in there.
I think there were some pretty good ones.
Free Dive was good.
Keeper of the Darkness.
There we go. Keeper of Darkness. Was that the second one? Maybe.
I don't even know how I remembered that one.
I'm impressed. Oh, man. We have 4-ish. We need, what, 3 more?
Yeah.
About 4 more? 3 more.
There was one, Chloricon. What was that one?
Cone Goblin.
Cone Goblin.
That's 5.
We're doing
close.
Pretty good. We're doing pretty good.
That's 5.
We got a funny one. We got a scary one.
Oh, what was the one? Forbidden Pumpkin.
Forbidden Pumpkin. Yep. I wish I was like an old people exam right now. They'd be like, "You're fine.
You're great. You can run for president.
Can you tell me your address?
Not right now.
I can get the state."
Okay, so I think, do we need just one more?
We need one more for a perfect score.
What was the okay, free dive. What was the first? I feel like
Midnight Maui was the first.
yeah.
And then it was another one.
Okay.
Could have been
Keeper of
Keeper of
Darkness.
Darkness. I don't really know.
Then something. Oh, Forbidden Pumpkin, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Then it might have been Cone Goblin. Or Free Dive.
Buy me a minute. I'm trying to scroll backwards through Untapped.
One or two. Oh boy. Oh,
And now it's here.
that's the one. I like that one. And now it's here.
And now it's here, which was about death.
About death giving you a second chance.
Okay. So we remember
that's all of them.
That was all seven.
We did. If not, John will put the one we forgot here. But I think we did it. All right. So which is the one? What's the one?
That wasn't even the hard part. Now is the hard part.
Remembering them again and then voting on them.
Okay, so I'm gonna put. I say we put 3 into the hat,
Okay.
and the first one I put in the hat is gonna be Free Dive.
Ooh, yeah. And oh man, probably. I definitely agree with Free Dive. I'll add. What was it? And now it's here.
And now it's here. The procrastinator who death visits.
Yes.
I can't remember all of them, but I'm leaning on.
What was the other one?
I'm leaning on Midnight and Maui is the other one for the hat. Although that was a little crass. So we've got Free Dive, Escape from Prison movie. We've got, and now it's here, Death Comes for You movie. So I'm looking to add something a little funny for the final vote,
Okay. Well.
which could be Gnome Goblin too,
Yep.
especially if we introduce a Swedish, Slovak, German accent.
Yeah, right. Where are you from again?
I could consider Cone Goblin for the third.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we got our 3 locked in, displayed on YouTube in some order where my finger's pointing. Free Dive, Cone Goblin, and now it's
Now
here.
it's here.
All right, you pick your favorite, Harrison.
Oh man.
Yeah, I wish you could call us right now and tell us what.
I know.
Someone reached out and said, "I'm glad you picked Gator belts and patty melts,"
Yes.
and I was really scared, but that was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to, not that we can ever repeat ourselves, but that's what I'm trying to think about right now is how did I feel with Gator belts and patty melts? 'Cause we were kind of worried about it and turned to be a blast. So is there a movie tonight? I'm apprehensive, but maybe can see where it can go. I mean, we almost did all of Free Dive already, but we can fill in the fun scenes and the side characters and the backstory, and that could be enjoyable.
Yep.
And now it's here. There's some examples out of that, but that one I think we could have the most to do to make it a movie, even though the idea is pretty simple. So that's good. What the heck was the other one? Oh, the Cone Goblin. Cone Goblin. It's kind of a monster. It's a monster movie, which I like. We haven't figured out how to beat the Cone Goblin.
True. I like the little bit of unknown, even though we could really change any of these around that we've seen before if you watch the show. But I'm leaning on Cone. I love Free Dive. I think that'd be such a fun movie to watch, but it might not leave a lot of room for me to laugh while we turn it into a proper film.
Right.
So I'm leaning more towards Cone Goblin. Between the 3. Same thing with Now It's Here. Like, great film, great lesson, room for some fun. But Cone Goblin I like because it's kind of focused on the monster and a group of people trying to solve it, and one of them has a Swedish accent or slow
Or something.
or is Conan.
There's an accent. Maybe just Conan. Yes.
I think that movie I had the most fun in the Fast Five with.
All right. Okay. Let's do Cone Goblin then. Let's gobble it up.
Both I really want corn after talking about
Right.
one.
Who doesn't love a good goblin and some corn?
So that's going to be it for us on the Fast Five. Somehow we landed on Cone Goblin.
Amazing.
And we're going to turn it into a film, and you'll watch it in 7 days.
That's it.
Until then,
That's right.
peace, punch, give me your lunch.
This is a lunch in a glass.
Yeah, it is. There's mayonnaise in this.